digital media company with more than 65 million users each month. Getaway Media owns and operates a portfolio of engaging web destinations that inform and entertain the world. Today at Seeds, we have the CEO of Getaway Media. Welcome a digital guru and professional, Gabe Douek.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the intro. So I know the hour is late here. This is the time where people start thinking about getting their drink on, so I'll try to keep it short. Gateway Media is a digital media company. We're located in the United States. More specifically, we're in St. Louis, Missouri. It's one of those cities that lies somewhere in the middle between New York and LA. And at Gateway, we're all about creating viral content for social consumption. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about how social content is disrupting traditional media. So when I think about traditional media, I think about news, breaking news, top headlines. And when I look back on the last year or so, there's no shortage of headlines that we can look at here. There's Crimea, there's that whole ISIS thing, recent Iran nuclear deal, situation in Ferguson, about 10 minutes from where I live in St. Louis, and a lot more. Sadly, when I look back, did a little research, there's not a lot of good news to be found over the last year or so. I don't know if that's because the world's a little bit scary right now, or if the traditional media outlets have just kind of scared us into consuming bad news, but regardless of that, can anyone here tell me what the most consumed piece of content produced by the New York Times was in 2014? I'll give you a hint. It wasn't a story about the economy. It wasn't a piece about world conflict. It was this quiz on US dialect. So what's happening here? Why is it that a quiz asking you whether you pronounce them tennis shoes or sneakers or gym shoes is being consumed more than a piece on international terrorism, for example? Well, simply put, the answer is social disruption. Disruption's not new. We've seen it before across various different verticals. Let's take information, for example. This piece of landfill on the left here, that's the Tandy 1000. That was my first computer. Got it when I was 10 years old, so about 26 years ago. Bought it from my local Radio Shack. Speaking of disruption, a company that was once the biggest retailer of electronics in the United States is now completely obsolete as of this year. And I paid about $2,000 for that, or my parents did anyway. The sleek and sexy thing on the right there, that's the new MacBook. That's what I use to get information today. Wasn't that much cheaper, about $1,500, but it runs about 400 times faster than the Tandy, and it holds about 20,000 times as much memory, and it's the size of a piece of paper. So how about communication? So that thing on the left is called a landline telephone. That's how I used to talk to my friends when I was in high school, and no joke, that's the exact same photo I had in my bedroom. Gotta love the internet. Nowadays, I communicate with my friends by talking to my wrist, or at least I will next week when my Apple Watch arrives. So let's take it back to media here. So the social content phenomenon is rocking all sectors of traditional media. People have changed the way in which they consume content. In the traditional model, content was basically produced by a small number of people, and as a consumer, you have two choices. You can either consume that content, or you can simply ignore it. In today's world of social media, there's a multitude of ways in which you can interact with content. You can like it, you can share it with your friends, you can comment on it, and you can add to it. So, today's consumers are simply looking to engage in content, not just consume it. And so it's become abundantly clear social content is what everybody is talking about. And as such, sharing has become the new currency on the internet. There's really no better way of validating a piece of content than sharing it with your friends. How often do you go to the grocery store and have a great experience at the checkout and tell all your friends about it? And it's got to be a pretty awesome experience for that to happen. And so therefore, shared content is valuable content. So I don't think it's going to come as any surprise to anybody in this room. Social media, it's kind of a big deal. People are engaging across multiple platforms in alarming numbers. Facebook user growth may have slowed down a bit now that they've cornered most of the market, but within their user base, engagement continues to grow, with their active users checking in more than a dozen times per day. And across other outlets like Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, user base continues to grow at a rapid pace to the point where people are engaging in social media for between 30 minutes and 60 minutes every single day. What may be a little bit less obvious is the rate in which brands have adapted to social media. Those brand marketing dollars are moving over at a rapid pace as well, with 93% of marketers using social media for business. And so it shouldn't come as any surprise that the market has validated this disruption. Companies like BuzzFeed being valued at nearly $1 billion. So who exactly are today's social content consumers? Well, in large part, they're millennials, and they're a diverse group of millennials. 3/4 out of every internet user has a Facebook account, and that same percentage holds true across gender and race. With other outlets, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, it's more like 1 out of every 4 users, but again, percentage-wise, same thing holds true across gender and race. And so, I think if disruption is caused by uproar, the uproar here is happening because there's a gap that exists between content producers and content consumers. So I'll talk a little bit about what we're building at Gateway Media. We own and operate some of the most viral brands on the internet. All told, the sites you see here see about 70 million visitors every single month. We have our own in-house content team, and we create content for the purpose of entertaining users in a social media mindset, with the mission of housing the most shared content on the internet. So our recipe for success thus far has been our ability to bridge that gap between content producers and content consumers. Our content team, some of which you see here, they're a diverse group of millennials. This is the first generation of people that have grown up with social media. These are kids who sleep with their mobile phones and tweet with their eyes closed. And so, they're writing content for millennials. This article on your right here is one that was produced from Mink.com, one of our lifestyle sites, about hairstyle hacks. It was shared more than 60,000 times. And when you produce engaging content and get it in front of the right people, you grow your user base very quickly. So Mink has been around for less than a year and already has 500,000 social followers. And when you produce products that not only look good and function well, but it also engage consumers, your readers will be proud to tell their friends about it, and others will take notice as well. Ula.com is our food site. It's actually currently nominated for a Webit as one of the top 5 food and drink sites in the world. And so just to summarize, I think, no surprise, change is inevitable. Failure to adapt to change will cause an uproar. The uproar being caused in the content world is the gap that exists between content consumers and content producers, and social content is what's disrupting traditional media. Greater success can be achieved by diversification in order to better speak to your audience. Thank you.